Hey guys, today we are going to unbox and assemble the Ender 3 S1 Pro 3D printer. The printer arrived well protected against damage, and it is easy to see if any major parts are missing. There is a small instruction book that provides a list of the main parts. However, I suggest also downloading this manual from Creality.com. Creality was kind enough to provide some starter filament that's for test printing and setting up. We laid everything out next to the box to inventory it and keep track. This is the nozzle kit, or as some people call it, the hothead. And one thing we didn't expect, there's a spare nozzle that didn't come with the original cheaper printer from Ender. These are filament cutters, you'll need those. And this is the rack and filament sensor. This is your nozzle cleaner, and it is very sharp, so you'll want to be very careful with that. Then you have the display and the mounting bracket, and there's a great upgrade you need. We'll cover that one later. And then Ender gives you this 8 gig card with an adapter. And finally a blade to remove your finished masterpiece or mishap, whichever comes first. And next we remove the gantry from the box using caution so as not to lift or pull by the pre-assembled light bar at the top or smashing it against anything as we remove it and set it down. And finally, we remove the chassis from the box and set it on the desktop. Next, we set the printhead or nozzle module to the gantry. Then, with the 4 M3x6 socket heads, we secure it in place. The manual shows that the next step is to install the wire clamp onto the motor plate, but we're going to do that just a little bit later in the process. For now, we're going to mount the gantry to the chassis. First, find the 4 M5x45 socket heads. Then locate the mounting holes in the chassis. Install the gantry over these holes. Insert 2 of the socket heads to just snug. You don't want to tighten these fully, not yet. Then move to the other side, repeat. At this point, the gantry should be just snug tight so that you can check parallel and alignment. Use the belt and gently pull, running the nozzle head up and down to confirm there is no binding or any tight spots. If your alignment is good, go ahead and now tighten all 4 screws. Okay, we have to stop here for just a moment and make a key point that for the final tightening, the support rail for the printhead should be all the way to the bottom of the gantry. Why? Print accuracy. This ensures that the gantry columns remain parallel as possible from top to bottom. Once you've tightened the gantry, use the toothed belt and run the support rail up and down to check for consistency. There should be no binding and no loose areas during travel. Next, we'll install the cable clip to the gantry. Orient the clip with the channel to the bottom and the opening facing out toward you. Push gently until it clicks. Now, straighten out the ribbon cable that connects the chassis to the printhead. Locate the orientation label and place it over the cable clip. Orient the label's arrow so that it's pointing downward, and then insert into the cable clip. The ribbon cable's connector is keyed and will only connect one way. Gently push it into place until the lock clicks. The key here is to make sure that the X and Z axis motor connector exits the ribbon cable toward the motor. This prevents wear and binding. Orient your cable to prevent any chafing, wear, or interference. Once the connector is secured, gently run the thin part of the ribbon cable through the cable guides. Now we can install the display unit. using 3 M4x30 screws. Our printer arrived with 4 screws, so we have a spare. The connector for the display is keyed, so it too will fit only one way. Connect the cable from the printer to the display, making sure the cable is secure without using excessive force. Orient the display so that the connector is at the top, and then slide the display into the bracket. The next step is to connect the filament tube to the rack, which has the filament sensor already attached. Important note, the filament tube is black and it comes stored under the other items in the foam packaging, and it fits tightly. We had to go back to the foam packaging and find our tube. You'll find a slot at the top of the gantry rail. Fit the rack's lip into this slot and gently press backward. The rack will snap into place. After the rack is installed, next we'll remove this tape and connect the Z-axis connector. Once you have this connected, move to the other side of the chassis and connect the Z2 axis, LED light bar, and the filament sensor connectors. These are also keyed and will only fit one way. Okay, now that the printer is basically assembled, we need to adjust the rollers for the print head. We want it just tight enough to prevent any wobble, slippage, or unintended movement, but not so tight that there is any drag. The better this adjustment, the better the print quality. And note, only the bottom roller is adjustable. First, barely loosen the nut, check for play, and then tighten just enough to remove that excess play. Check for the play again and repeat until you're satisfied. The gantry rollers need to be adjusted too. You won't see any wobble on these. You tighten these just so that there is a minimum of slip when you turn the rollers by hands using your fingers. If you can't turn it by using your fingers, it is too tight. Now that the rollers are adjusted, we tension up the belts. These are toothed belts. They don't need to be tightened excessively, just tight enough so that the drive is positive and there's no backlash. Don't forget to adjust the tension for the bed also. Okay guys, I don't want to be overly dramatic here, but if you get this wrong, you may let the smoke out of your printer, and you don't want that. It's expensive. For North America, the United States, Mexico, and Canada, generally your supply is going to be 115 volts nominal. And notice the label shows to move the selector switch behind this label to the right side. For European areas and others, you're going to want the 230 or 240 nominal side. Move the switch to the left. Do not turn on your printer until you have confirmed these settings. Okay guys, thanks for watching the assembly of the printer. The next video will cover the bed leveling and then some printing. If you have any suggestions or comments, please share them in the comments section. Thanks again. Until next time.